So I've been trying to grow a list and fill my funnel. For years now. I started my marketing agency in 2001. So I have just done about everything you can think of in terms of trying to grow a large following, including blogging, including ebooks, Facebook marketing campaigns, Google Plus, if you believe that, way back in the days. I've tried a lot of methods, and to date, the one that really has worked the best for me has been YouTube. And that is by a long shot. So it's kind of funny. So sometimes people ask me like, can you actually grow a large following or a large email database with YouTube? And the answer is like, yeah. Actually, this is my number one source of email marketing sources that I've had in the last few years. There's a matter of fact, I've grown my email database by 137% year over year. That's a staggering number. And I got for a small business, for a public speaker like me, I got 4,400 new email addresses. And when I started, I only had 800. Back in the days, I had hundreds of thousands of them, but once I cleaned it up and really kept the good emails, I was down to 800. And in a couple of years, I've grown it to over 44. And this is all 100% organic, and this is all coming from YouTube. So that's what we're going to be talking about. How do you do that? So my first question when I started to work with YouTube is, what triggers the algorithm? Like, how does it work? Like, how do you get your content viewed by as many people as possible? Like, that's the thing. And I had trials and errors. I had some videos that were doing very well that I was doing by accident, and then some that I was doing it on purpose and they were not working. So I was really wondering, how does it work? And one of the first things that I've learned is there's a big common misconception about YouTube, and that it's all about the subscribers. It's all about them, like having as many subscribers as possible. This is how you win. Like, he who has the most subscribers is the winner. And it's not true. It really isn't. It's not a contest of who has the most subscribers. Although, saying you have 1 million subscribers sounds great and it's very impressive, but that's not the most important things. And among YouTube creators, we know that subscribers is really more of an ego thing than a real tangible marker for us. The question is these people, getting in tune with them, your audience. Obviously, if your audience looks like that, and however your audience looks like, you need to be tuned in to them. Like, the key to success on YouTube is understanding them, your audience. Specifically, on understanding the algorithm is the YouTube algorithm is trying to predict what you will enjoy. Okay, that's basically what it does, and it's trying to keep you on the platform as long as possible. At the end of the day, that's really all the algorithm is doing. It's trying to predict what you will enjoy, which is the reason why if you watch a couple of videos from a specific creator, then all of a sudden it's going to be there all the time. It's always going to be there reminding you, hey, you look like you enjoy that. And it's trying to keep, because it just wants to keep you on the platform longer. It doesn't want you to go to Facebook. It doesn't want you to go in and listen to music. It just wants you to stay there. So it's going to try to give you the most appropriate content for you or for your audience. So here are 7 things that I want to cover in this presentation to help you understand and help you narrow down how this YouTube platform works. So the first thing, you need to identify your audience. That's step 1. Who are they? Who are those people? And understanding them. Why are they coming to your channel? Why are they listening to your content? Who are they and why are they coming there? Like, those people, like, why did they come to your channel? Why did they come and listen to your video? So the 2 questions we want is, we want to know, what do they want, like them, your audience, and specifically, what do they like? That's, once we understand our audience and we have the answer to those 2 questions, that is going to help us create content that's going to help us grow and gain a large following. Now, let me get a little bit meta with you, and then giving you a tip right up, right from the get-go about how would you go about creating content that they want and that they like. Well, here's the thing that I do. I actually go, so let's just take real estate, for example. You take this Malcolm Lawson, he's a content creator that creates videos about the real estate. And I go in this channel and then I click on videos. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort the videos by the most popular, as you can see on the right hand side right there, right? I just click on that. And there you go, this little thing here. And I sort the channel by the most popular videos. And if I want to know what people like and want, all I have to do is pay attention to the videos that are recent and doing very well. So if I want to know, if I want to create some content for the real estate market, and I just go in a creator's channel, all I need to do is sort the videos by the most popular, and then it's going to tell me that right now people have a tendency to like videos where on the thumbnail the person is going to be looking worried and it's talking about the housing market. That's the type of content that people want and people like. So I'm not saying that you should replicate that video or or duplicate it, but you could create your own version of that answer, because obviously this is what people like and this is what people want. And the same actually goes, if you look at some of those videos, it will also tell you that some videos were very popular back in the day, but they were like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Those videos were popular, but they're not popular right now. So you want to look at videos that are actually in months, not in years. And that will tell you, that will give you the answer of what do people want and what do people like. And then if you create content similar to that, it's going to work out for you. The next thing that I do is I read comments. I think that this is, I think that successful content creators, kind of like the secret that everybody doesn't talk about, but the answer to the vast majority of your question, which is what do they want, what do they like, is actually in their comments, because they'll, right out of their mouth, they will tell you exactly what they're struggling with, what their problems are. And then I'm not talking about your comments, I'm talking about reading the comments on successful channels. It's amazing the amount of data that's right there just for you to go and take a look at. Just pick up a successful channel, go read the comment, and I defy you not to find at least a half a dozen pearl within an hour. You're going to read comments for an hour, and I can guarantee you, you're going to get between 5 to 10 things that are going to blow your mind that people just said, that's important to me. And all you have to do is, well, create that content. All right, the second thing that I want to cover today is how to do content research. Now, I have done this on multiple presentations, so there's not a lot of things new, but I still need to cover that because I think it's very important. One of the tools that I use is SEMrush, and there's a feature in there that's called the Keyword Magic tool. And if you put any keyword, it will tell you all the questions that people are asking right now. Those are the popular questions, right? So if you put the keyword sell house, you're going to get all those questions. Those are the questions that people are asking for, right? So how to sell your house, that is the most important question. Now, another tool that I use is called answerthepublic.com. Now, Answer the Public is not free. No, sorry, Answer the Public is free. SEMrush is not. So if you like free like me, Answer the Public is probably great for you. And then you'll have the same thing. You just this is buying a house, and it's going to give you the answers in a beautiful flower like this, and you're going to be able to see all the questions that people are asking. And if you zoom in, you can actually take a question, how long buying house process, which also tells you that people don't speak English on the internet. And then you take that question and you put it in YouTube and see how many videos are answering that question. And for that specific question, the answer is, well, none of them. There is a timeline for buying a house, which is close. How long the closing process works, which is, fairly close, but this is not that specific question. This is how people are asking it. So if you create a video with that as the title, and it's a good video, the chances are your video is going to rank and it's going to go to the top. Now, I hope this is blowing your mind, because it's that easy. All you have to do is actually search for the questions that people are asking, create content, and there you go. You're going to rank. So what you want to do, what you want to look for is what's missing, right? Which video? So for example, if for the how long the buying a house process takes, you want to look for, well, what's missing in there? Well, there might be 4 or 5 people who are talking about it. But what is it that they're not saying? What's missing in what they're saying? And specifically, can you make it better? I mean, sometimes you'll find videos that are out there answering the question that you think is a good fit for you, and it's not, it's not answered properly, or it's only a half an answer, or it's just not done well at all. And maybe you can make it much better, and people will consume your video because it's just better quality. Another tool that I use is Google Trends. Google Trends is absolutely amazing. If you want to know what kind of content you should be creating, specifically when you compare selling a house to buying a house, right? So if you want to know, if you're in a real estate space and you want to know what kind of content you should be making right now, well, the answer is right there in front of you. You should be making content about buying a house because this is what people are searching for, which, by the way, may change 6 months from now. So you want to keep, you want to keep doing this as often as necessary. I would say once a quarter, you should be running Google Trends and see if the trend is shifting, because I can guarantee you that this graph may be completely upside down in 18 months from now, right? The real estate market is going to cool off and people are going to have more problems selling their house. So this is the type of content you should be creating. And the same applies to your industry. All right, let's move on to the third point. And the third point is the traffic source. And I think this is, hopefully it's going to blow your mind, because it did blow my mind when I learned that. And I learned that just about a year ago, and it completely turned what I believed was the main traffic source for YouTube on its head. I had it all wrong. So here are where the traffic source is coming on YouTube. It's coming from these 4 areas. It's the first one is browse, then suggested, then search, then external. Browse is when people are just picking up and opening the application YouTube, and they're looking and they're just scrolling up and down. They're just browsing YouTube, and that's the first step. Suggested is once they've watched the video, then YouTube is suggesting the next video to watch, and you probably have seen that. The third one is the search engine. Someone is searching for a specific thing, and YouTube is going to deliver them the videos that are appropriate. And then the fourth one is external, as in links from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you name it, right? Just basically outside. So here is how, without telling you which one it is, here is how it breaks it breaks down. 75% is the red area, then 15% is the blue area, and 10% is the yellow area. Now, I believed that, and I've said that on stage, that YouTube is a search engine. As a matter of fact, it's the second search engine in the world. Therefore, you should pay attention to search. And I really thought that YouTube was, the search was the red area. Well, it's not. Search accounts for 10 to 15% of all traffic source on YouTube. And my jaw completely dropped there, because I would have said 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said the exact opposite. And the reality is that the vast majority of traffic on YouTube comes from browse and suggested. And there's, a matter of fact, external searches. A lot of people ask me, like, should I post my videos on Facebook, on LinkedIn? Should I expect a lot of traffic back to my YouTube channel? The answer is no. On my channel, because first of all of these social media platforms don't play nice with one another. They don't want to send traffic to YouTube, so they don't play nice. So they're not there trying to promote a YouTube video on Facebook. It's not in their own self-interest to do that. So on my channel, it counts for less than 4% of external traffic. The vast majority of my traffic is coming from browse and suggested. So I'm going to tell you how you do it, because obviously search, well, it's an optimized title, but how do you win? How do you get the biggest piece of the pie? So, and I'm going to explain that to you. So this is the type of results you want to see when you're in the back end. Like that 61.3% of all the traffic on this video is from suggested, then 12.9% is from browse, and then search is 12.9%. That's the ideal case scenario. So you want to compare based on where the traffic source is coming from to your result and see if you line up with it. Because if your search, for example, accounts for 80% of all the traffic source on a specific video, you're missing out big time on browse and suggested. And something is off that you could actually easily fix and blow up the traffic that you get. So you want the suggested to be above 50%. That should be your goal. Like browse and suggested combined actually should be above 50%. If it's not, you're leaving a lot of views on the table and something is not working out, right? So how do you do that? How do you win the browse and suggested game? How does that work? Well, I'll give you the formula right now. The first one is you need to have a decent video with good content. Now, I didn't say an extraordinary video with amazing content, right? A lot of time people hear that. It's got to be amazing. No, it has to be a decent video with good content. You know, you don't have to create a masterpiece here, right? It doesn't have to be extraordinary. It has to be decent with good content, right? Um, Two, well, the title needs to be keyword optimized, obviously, right? Because it is still a search engine, right? So that would be the second thing in making sure that you're discovered. But three, and probably the most important for browse and suggested, and this is really where it happens, is the thumbnail. Like people completely underestimate the importance of the thumbnail, and I certainly was one of them that did not pay sufficient attention to the thumbnail. A person will watch your video. How it starts with a click. For them to watch your video, will start with a click, and what they will click on is a thumbnail. Period. That's the first thing that they're going to click on. So if you want to win at the browse and suggested, you need to raise your game with the thumbnails, right? So these, for example, these are example of what I consider to be great thumbnails, right? They're very engaging, like the color composition is great. You can see the emotion. I'm not a huge fan of the mouth open with the big smile and the overemphasis, emotion, but they do work. But you can see on the other two that they don't have that over the top emotion, but you can still catch the emotion, what's there. You can actually look at them in the eye and say, okay, I get a sense of what this video is about, right? So you don't have to go over the top, but you want to make sure that your picture is actually evoking an emotion, and it's easy to read and it's easy on the eyes. You look at that and you know exactly what this video is about. That is really super important. Fourth, you need to have good description and good tags. Yeah, people will read your descriptions, and the tags are actually also helpful for people to find your content. But here's the mistake that people do with their tags. They'll do tags like this, like hashtag Gary V or realtor or hashtag Tim Ferriss. The problem with that methodology is, number one, it doesn't work, right? You're not going to fool anyone by tagging your videos hashtag Gary V. It's just not going to work out for you. And it actually could be counterproductive because, for example, if I put a video and I put a hashtag Gary V, someone will come on my video and just say, yeah, you have nothing to do with Gary V. Like, why are you tagging him? Like, you're talking about marketing, but you're not anything like him. It doesn't make sense. I would probably have a retention that would suck because people would just click in and just leave out. Like that's not what a tag is done. Which, by the way, they have very little SEO power. Like a lot of people think they do, but they don't. It's a sorting thing. It's to help people find your content. So don't do that. But here's what you could do. That's the kind of hashtag, that's the kind of tags you want to create. Tags that are highly descriptive. Tags are going to help people actually find the content they're looking for. That's helpful. And you don't need like 50 of them. You don't need the 500 characters. 4, 5, maybe up to 10 tags is all you need. It's a sorting mechanism more than anything. But what you want to do, what you want your videos to be done is you want your videos to be suggested after those content creators. They're not huge. They're just creator with hundreds of thousands of views. So that's the kind of game you want to play. You don't want to play after the big, Gary V and those big names. You just go after what I would call successful YouTube creators, but they're not enormous that YouTube would not suggest you after. All right, let's move on to the fourth point that I want to make today about how to gain a large following on YouTube. is your audience retention. Now, your audience retention, this is how it looks in the back end. It just shows you a little graph and showing you how long should, our people are staying on that specific video. You want to make sure that that's above 50%. It's really important that your retention is above 50% because if you're below 50%, it's not going to help you. Because, which, by the way, it's very it's super useful because if you want to know how to improve your videos or what's going on with the quality of your videos, one of the first things that I look at is the retention. If people are not staying, if people are staying 25% of the time on your videos, well, something's up. But it's not necessarily bad news. It just means that it's giving you a piece of information. People are not sticking around on your videos. They just come in, they just watch a little bit, and then they go. So it's communicating to you that you need to improve the quality of your videos, right? And because once it's above 50%, then you're in a good shape. But if you're below that, you need some improvements. A study was conducted by TubeBuddy on that, which is actually very interesting. But here are some averages. Now, you want to take averages with a grain of salt, because this is across hundreds of channels. It's not specific to you. So your industry and your background may have a different retention on the videos. But that's a rule of thumb. So like rule of thumbs, you take it with a grain of salt, right? So a 20-minute video on average will get 33% retention. A 10-minute video will get 40%. A 5-minute video will get 47%, and a 2-minute video will get 59%. Right? So you can measure yourself against that. Now, bear in mind that your industry may be lower or higher depending on the type of content, but that's a good mark. I mean, I use that mark to figure out, okay, am I above average here or am I below average? And I always aim to be above average to make sure that I'm going to get as many views as possible. All right. When you log in the back end, you can actually see your retention next to your video. So there's this little tool, and you can see the peaks and the valley and people watching your content. So that was very interesting for me. I didn't understand why. Technically, if you look at that, you have more people viewing the video after, like it should dip continuously. But if it goes back up, I was like, I didn't understand how a retention would actually increase. And what those are, those little mounds, is people rewinding the video. It's people watching that point again. So that actually is great information, because if you have a huge spike or a huge drop off for that matter, you want to study what's happening there. And recently I was with some YouTube creators, and they all were doing some type of promotion on their videos, and it was absolutely staggering how we could literally see in the retention the drop off the second they started the promoting a product or a service on their video. The retention dropped off. People lost interest. And they were like, okay, well, then I need to do this much further down, like in the last minute of my video, because if you do it in the middle, you're going to be losing like 20-30% of people that are going to say, I don't want to see another promotion. But that's very important here. It's giving you a lot of information in terms of what people like and also what people don't like. And getting, by the way, if you can see, there's a drop off almost immediately. Like people click on your video and then immediately it goes to 75%, which is not bad, by the way. I used to be traumatized by that. What happened? Why are these people not liking me? But it's very typical. A lot of people will click. They're like, I don't like, I don't like the bald white dude. I want something else. And then they'll just move on. But that's just, losing 25%. Don't lose any sleep over it. As long as the overall retention from beginning to end is above 50%, you probably are doing very well. All right, so what's important is the average number of views, which is right there, right? Which is how many videos people are actually watching of your channel. That's a key metric that you actually are doing something well, right? And this is a metric that we look at. Again, I don't know if you noticed, but we're not talking about subscribers. Like the increasing the number of subscribers is not important. Increasing your retention is important. Increasing the average number of views that you have per viewer. So, you know, that's should be something you should focus on and make sure that that is actually increasing. You know, try to bring this to 2 videos. So when someone actually watch one of your video, they're going to watch another one. And you want that number to be above 2 video per person. At least they come, they watch the video that they searched or they found, and then they watch another one. That's the number you should be aiming for. And if you do that, then your views are going to start to explode. So how do you do that? How do you increase? How do you get people to watch more than just one video? Well, again, it's a decent video with good content. Not extraordinary, but has to be a decent video with good content. And the second thing, which is really important, and if you have videos that if you're like 1.3, 1.4% video view, maybe you want to change the pace. Maybe it's an energetic pace, or maybe you need to slow it down. But whatever you do, you need to test that theory. You need to test the thing. It's just like, okay, maybe my videos are too long. Let's try to make them a little shorter and see if I can increase the number of videos you above the 1.8. So just check your pace and the energy that you have on video, and that's going to go a long way. All right, let's move on to the 5th point, and we're doing great on time. All right, great. Maybe I'm going a little too fast, but we're good. We'll have time for questions after that. The impressions versus CTR. So if there is one thing that is super important, is the impressions. The impressions on your YouTube channel is the number of times that YouTube is going to show your video to other people. What counts as an impressions, right? And then there is the click-through rates, the CTR, the percentage of CTR. So YouTube is going to show your video to 100 people, or 1,000 people, or 1,000,000 people, and then based on how many people click on that thumbnail or that title of that video, you're going to get your click-through rate, right? Just basic, simple math here. So this is how it looks in the back end, right? So you can see here on this channel, it's got 622,000 impressions of the videos, right? So it showed it 622,000 times. And it also says that 68.8% of that was YouTube recommending your content. So that is awesome. Think about it. YouTube is doing the work of recommending your content. You don't have to buy ads. They're doing it, which is one of the things that I love about YouTube is if you create good videos, YouTube is going to help you promote it. It's in their own best self-interest because they want to keep people on the platform. So they're going to show them what they like and what they want. If your video is good, well, they'll promote it for you. The next thing is the click-through rate. So it's a 3.7% click-through rate based on 622, which resulted in over 22,000 views. That's the simple math, right? That's how the impressions and the click-through rate actually work. So how do you improve the impressions? How do you improve getting more impressions and getting a better click-through rate? Well, if you want more impressions, you want to raise your retention above 50%. It's just really that simple. I mean, there's no trickery with the impressions other than creating a better video. So if you have a better video with a better retention, well, YouTube is going to promote it more, right? And increase the average number of views. So how do you win the game is have as many impressions as possible. You know, if you have 5 million impressions, that's going to be much better for you. And how do you do that? Well, you increase your retention and you increase the average number of views of people watching your videos, right? How do you do a better CTR? How do you improve your click-through rate? Well, you get an awesome thumbnail and an SEO title, right? So let me, but I'm sorry, I'm skipping to the next thing. Here's a goal for your click-through rate, right? And this is, again, this is a rule of thumb. This works for a lot of industries, and I've seen a lot of people's channels and a lot of creators. So it's not true across all industries, but it's a good rule of thumb. And here's what I would say: that if your click-through rate is between 2 to 3%, it's not good, right? I'm not call it bad, but it's not ideal, right? You want to you need to do some work. Your thumbnail needs some improvement. Between 3 to 5%. This is okay. This is good. This is a good zone. This is where, you know, it's working out and you're on the average. And if it's between 5 to 8%, it's best. Yeah, I wouldn't, I always revise thumbnails, which by the way, you can change thumbnail. You can, re-upload a thumbnail. The thumbnail is not forever. A video is forever. Once it's uploaded, you can change it, but you can change the thumbnail as many times as you want. And then see if it improves. So once a thumbnail for us gets in the 5 to 8%, 5 to 8 percentile, we don't touch it anymore. We just, it doesn't matter whether we think the thumbnail is ugly or not. If it gets above 5%, we don't touch it because it's obviously working. But if it's between 3 to 5, we're going to try to, let's make a change. Let's put a different face. Let's put a different color. Let's just try things out to see if it works better. So let me show you a thumbnail case study, which is based on my thumbnails and what I've done. So here's what it was. This was a thumbnail based on a webcast that I used to do. So I would have a guest, and this is me and the guest, and then social media strategy in 2017. And this was not performing really great. So here's what I've done to get 157% more impressions in 30 days. That's it. I just moved her a lot closer. She's obviously the guest. I'm less important than her. She was already a little bit more in the forefront than me, but I just moved her even more in the front, put a little white line around her, and put a little white line around me, and then just changed the text box and just made it a little bit more vibrant. And that gave me 157% more impressions in 30 days because YouTube saw us that, oh wow, that's getting a better click-through rate, so I'm gonna help out that thumbnail. So the thumbnail is super important. Here's the second case study. Here's how it was. So how to plan for a website, and here's what I've done to get 188% improvement in the click-through rate in 60 days. Right? I just put my face a lot closer. Which, by the way, we call it a thumbnail because for the vast majority of people on their phone, it's the size of a thumb. Now we're seeing it big and large and big on my screen, but people are going to see it the size of your thumb, like literally. So you can see, like right now with the big screen, how small my face would be on the left side on the thumbnail. It would be tiny. You couldn't possibly connect with that emotion. You couldn't see the eyes in there. But with my face big and large on the thumbnail, taking at least a third of the screen, people can connect with me. They can connect. We connect with the eyes, we connect with the smile, and it talks to people, and they'll be more willing to engage. Now, obviously, making the letters, just as clear as possible in those big boxes also did the trick. But again, it's always paying attention to that and improving the thumbnail, because if my thumbnail sucks, people are not going to click on the video. If they don't click, they don't watch it. And if they don't watch it, then YouTube is saying your content is not good, right? Just super important to get great thumbnails. If you don't know how to make thumbnails, by the way, you can go to Fiverr, and you can hire people to do thumbnails for you for as little as $5. No, obviously at $5, you get what you pay for. It might not be extraordinary, but if you're on a limited budget, and you need a few thumbnails to be done, there's tons of people that can help you out with that. If you're not good with Photoshop, which is the vast majority of people are not good with Photoshop, hire someone to do it for you. You don't have to suffer through trying to learn, how to be a graphic designer, because if you're not, you just simply not. And then just get people to help you out. All right, let's move on to the sixth point that I wanted to cover. Just got a little water here. All right, preparation and scripting. If you want your videos to be successful, you're going to have to prepare, and you're going to have scripts for all of that. I use the POP method, and the POP method stands for the problem, the outcome, and the promise. And here is what I do basically. The problem is, for example, I'll say, people, you're not getting enough listing. Well, I'm talking about real estate here, right? So there's not enough listings for you trying to buy a house, and you want to buy the perfect house for you and your family. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to snatch the best house for you. This is how I would introduce the video. The reason why I do that is because I want to identify the problem. I want people to connect with the video. Right? I don't want to start with the video that says, hi, this is Antoine, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to create a great video here today. None of this matters. No, people, they don't care. They don't care about who you are and what you do. They want their problems fixed. So what I try to do immediately is identify the problem, right? The problem is there's not enough listings for people that want to buy a house, right? And then the desired outcome is they want a perfect house for their family. And then what the promise is, which is what the video is about. And that's all you need to do in your intro. If you do that, your retention is going to be great because you're telling people exactly what the video is about. You're telling them why it's important to them because you're connecting with their pain or their fears. And then people will stick around. They'll be like, okay, great. I'm in because everything you've said so far is exactly me. That's the thing. So start with the pop method is a great way to start all your videos. You need to write your scripts. I don't know any YouTube creator that actually don't write their script. They're written script, and maybe not word for word what you want to say, but you need to have an outline of your script. There's nobody that goes. Maybe it looks like it. Maybe it looks like people are just coming off, the top of their head and are just talking on camera, and then all of a sudden they're very eloquent and they know all the things to do. But I'm going to tell you that 99.9% of the time, people have a script and they follow it. And you want to rehearse. We do in my office what's called a table read. And the reason why I do a table read, and actually it's great for all of you. For me, I'm French, so I'll speak. I'll butcher some English words. I'll put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. But that's messed up. So I need to know that before I'm going to start to shoot the video. So I know which word that I'm going to bump against. It's not going to work out for me, or I just don't like the way it sounds. Right. So you need to do a table read. Whether you do that in front of a mirror or you do with someone and say, "Let me read the script or the outline of what I want to talk about," then at least you'll be a lot better prepared, and your video is going to flow a lot nicer. Now, if you want to copy a free copy of my script template, what I use, you simply go to AntoineDupont.com/script, and then you'll be able to download it. It's a free download. You're not signing up for anything. I don't have anything to sell you. Actually, I'm a public speaker, unless you have a gig, but I'm not selling anything. You're not entered in the sweepstakes. You'll just get the copy of the script that you're seeing on the right. And then you'll just fill in, there'll be a blank one. You just fill in the box and they'll help you at least for your first 2 to 3 scripts to get it right. All right. Again, it's AntoineDupont.com/script. All right. The seventh and final point that I want to cover about YouTube, and I think is super important. When I run into people relating to growing their YouTube channel or actually being on video, the first pushback that I get is, "Antoine, I'm super busy. I don't have the extra time on my hands. I already work 10, 12 hours a day, and I got to pick up the kids from school, and I got to take them to practice, and I got to make dinner, and I got to go and I got to take my wife on a date." I mean, whatever, it's just all this. All this is totally valid. I get it. Everybody is super busy, and it's just fair. The second one is, I don't know how. I don't know how to do it. Well, this is why you're here, right? You don't know necessarily everything you need to know about YouTube, so you're educating yourself, so you're in the right space. But there's tons of ways for you to learn how to do it. But the third push that I get, and that is universal across all industries, across all businesses, is I don't like the way I look, and I don't like the way I sound on camera. And that is universal. And like, I have hardly ever met anyone that is not some level of shy getting behind the camera or getting in front of the camera, I should say. Right. And I've talked to some public speakers that have been doing this for 20 years. And I was surprised to find out that they actually still hate to watch themselves. They've been doing it for 20 years and they still hate watching themselves on stage. And I'm like, how could you hate watching yourself? Like, you're amazing at what you do. And it's like, what I just realized is it's universal. And it's actually a competitive advantage. And the reason why it's a competitive advantage is because everybody is frightened. Nobody wants to be in front of the camera. So it's a competitive advantage for you, because if that's the case, then that gives you, if you're going to actually do it, you're going to rise above everybody else, because you're just going to have, there's nothing wrong being afraid of not liking it. But what you don't want to do is you don't want it to stop you. Just acknowledge it. Personally, I wish that I looked like George Clooney, right? But I look at myself and it's more like Uncle Fester. But the reality is, like, there's nothing wrong with you. We know what you look and sound like. You're right in front of us. We can hear you perfectly well, and there's nothing wrong with you. The only thing is you probably wish you sounded and looked like something different, but you don't. And there's nothing wrong with you. So my feedback to you is just acknowledge it. Say, okay, I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to like it now. I'm not going to like it tomorrow. But that's not going to stop me. I'm still going to do my videos, get in front of the camera, deliver what I need to deliver, knowing that I'm going to, not like what I see because it's universal and everybody is in the same spot. But I'm just going to keep on doing it because it's going to give me an edge over my competition. Um, the problem with creating videos, obviously, it can be intimidating. There's no question that creating content on videos is intimidating. It's not easy being in front of the camera, and it takes practice. You may not be great the first 10 videos that you do, but I can guarantee you that at the 20th video, you're going to be significantly better than the first one you just take practice. It's like, riding a bicycle. You're not good right off the bat or anything, or learning to play the guitar. You're not going to be Eddie Van Allen on day two, right? So it takes, hours of practice and lots of videos to be comfortable, but, just go for it. Um, the truth is, this is what they want. That's the truth. This is what people want. We're consume more and more video content, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. People gravitate toward videos. And it's not because people are lazy, because I've heard that. Yeah, people are just going for the thing. No, it's because most of us are visuals. People are visual. They learn better actually when it's visual than when it's oral. It's just easier. It's just easier to understand and learn when something is visual, which is why we love videos. So what we need to change, we need to do content where they are, which is on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram, and we need to give them what they want. And what they want is videos. So if you want to grow a large following for your business, creating videos on YouTube is an amazing strategy. So here's the formula for fast organic growth. This is my formula, right? This is a secret formula that I'm going to give you. This is a state of the art, the best formula ever. Here it is. So number one, upper left hand corner. It starts with a decent video with good content, right? That's the first thing you need to do. Good video, decent content. It doesn't have to be extraordinary, right? It's just a good video, right? Just good content, and that's it. And then it goes to with a great thumbnail. You need to have a great thumbnail. Spend more time than you think on your thumbnail. Don't assume, unless your thumbnails are above 5% click-through rate, that they're not good enough, right? The second thing is you need to have a title that is optimized, obviously for search, because search is still a significant amount of volume. So you want to make sure that your title is keyword optimized. But remember that the thumbnail is probably more important than the SEO title. And then the fourth thing that you need to do is you need to look at your data. You need to look at the numbers. You need to look at your retention. What is the retention on that video? It was 40%. Okay, what can we do to bring that up to 45% or 50% retention? How many videos did they view per person? Did they watch 1.2, 1.5, 1.8, 2 video per person, right? How is my impressions? How many impressions am I getting? How is my click-through rate? Those are the important things that you look. There's nothing in there that's about the subscribers. The subscribers will come. They will come on their own. But that's not what's important on YouTube. What's important is the impressions, the click-through rates, and the retention. All right, so when do you want to get started with YouTube? Well, right now. Fastest growing demographic on YouTube is the 45 to 65 age group. They're coming in droves. If you have kids like I do, in the teens or young adults, YouTube is their television. They're hooked on YouTube. Sometimes it feels like 24-hour, 24/7. But this is a very fast growing platform, particularly for the 45 to 65 age group. So which by the way, those are people that they have more money than teeny boppers, to just put it that way, right? So the time to get started is now. I know that today, I think that what we're going to see billionaires made out of YouTube platform, and I think that some of them are just going to be starting today. Right, the growth is ahead of us, not behind. Because if you don't, you're going to be behind the pack. It's not, and that's not a good place to be. So, get started now. Don't procrastinate getting your YouTube channel started. Just start it right now.